So I went on YouTube trying to make sure I was checking all my directions good on oil changing, motor oil and lower oil for this on YouTube, and there wasn't much on there for the Tohatsu 40 or 50. And not that it's hard. I mean, it's clear you can get your manual and just read through it, but I always like to double check myself and make sure I'm not doing something stupid before I get into these. So I like to watch a little YouTube video just to make sure somebody's not doing something different than I am. And there wasn't much on YouTube, so I figured I would throw this on there real quick and just how I'm going through mine and doing mine, and maybe it'll help somebody else along the way. Here's what you're going to need: 4-stroke 10W40 synthetic blend from Tohatsu. They didn't have the actual quart, so I had to get the gallon, which is $40 for a gallon. So this is a little more expensive than it would be if you were doing this with the quarts. You're also going to need the washer for the top, for the upper, the motor part, for your plug, and you're going to need 2 lowers, one for each of the plugs on the lower, one here and one here. Those gaskets or seals will make sure you don't get any water coming back in your lower. This is the gear oil they gave me. ADW90 meets GL5 requirements. They tried to give me GL4 requirements, and on the Tohatsu page it says make sure it meets GL5 requirements. So anyway, you'll need a pump to pump this in here. It's way overpriced, stupidly overpriced, but not as stupidly overpriced as the fuel filter that you'll need, which is $18. And you can look that part number up. That's the part number right there. And you could probably get that on Amazon or eBay cheaper. I've got a wrench to take it off. Hopefully don't need it. And you're going to need a 5/8 wrench to get the drain plug out. I think it's probably 16 metric, but I'm not going metric. I'm using the 5/8 there. So let me get this all unhooked and lowered down, and we'll start draining the motor. All right, so this is where the oil intake will go. We'll go ahead and loosen that. Take that off so it'll drain. I've seen people say take your dipstick out so it'll drain. You say we're not bad, but we're probably due for the break-in oil change. Okay, we'll pop this off. This is the drain for the motor oil. Pop that off. Then I'm going to tilt it back up and turn the motor over so it'll drain out into this. And it's kind of a tricky game to get it into that. I may hold it up here and let it actually run straight into it, and then when it gets to the end I'll tip it up and roll it over. So anyway, I had it on good from the factory. I'll put a glove on before I take this off. It'll probably squirt out pretty good right out of the gates. Yep. Okay, so we're pretty much all done there. So what we'll do now is trim up. Just trim it up down a little bit and you'll move that oil around and get every little bit you can out. All right, I'm gonna put this washer back on there and replace the washer that's on there. We're gonna cap this back up. Here's the old one. Probably nothing wrong with it, but they always say to replace it. Check this for metal shavings. They say the break-in, this will collect metal shavings. And put a little bit of oil around that seal. Just help out a little bit. Now I'm not going to go crazy tight like they did when I tighten this back up. From the factory, they were really tight. We're just going to snug it up. Alright, that's about all I can do hand tightening wise, and I think that's plenty. Alright, so we've drained it out. We've drained out our oil. We gotta get the oil filter off now, which is always tricky. Okay. Get the new one ready to go on. Get a little bit of oil and just grease the seal there. Oh, that thing's come off. Grab that with a paper towel, give it a tight turn. Okay, that's all we're going to do on that. Any little bit of oil spill, clean that up. What I like to do at this point is write today's date on here. On the fuel filter, write the date. Write the date on the fuel filter, and today is 3/23/21. Easy reminder of when that was done last. So I'm going to put 2.3 quarts of this oil in. .3 quarts of this. You can see we're looking at it here like 1 quart, 2 quart, and we get to that mark, we're at 0.3. So I'm going to pour it in, then we'll slow down on the second part. Okay, so we're at 2 quarts, so I'm going to slow down a little bit and start checking for that 3/10. Just almost there. We'll check that, that's close. This new oil's so runny, it's hard to tell. But yeah, we're definitely at the line. We're not up the stick, so that's good. So I'd say we're spot on oil. So 2.3 quarts. And I'd say after you run it, you should check it. Once you run this, check it, make sure. I think we're definitely good on that. So 2.3 quarts in, change the oil filter. There's the oil filter code if you want to just order it online instead of paying $20 or $19 for an oil filter. On the lower unit, this is the up top, this is down low. We're gonna take this out and we'll have to take this one out so that it'll drain. Otherwise you'll have a vacuum, it won't drain out. So flathead screwdriver. I'd say you don't want to lose that in the oil if at all possible. Okay, so there's that. I'll let the top one out. We should see a lot more coming out. Give that a little bit of time to come out. We'll place these. While that's draining, I'm going to place these O-rings. Give that a few minutes to drain. It looks pretty good so far. It's not milky at all. No water come out with it, so I think we're good. Okay, so we got fresh O-rings on these. Grab this Yama lube. Okay, so that's in. Screw that in. What?
You know that closet?
So we've got our pump screwed in here, universal pump. It was like $13 for this universal pump part here. We've got the open one up here. We're going to pump the gear oil in until we see it start bubbling out up here at the top. And then when you need to get a little, slow it down a little bit when it starts bubbling. Be about a half a quart. That's what it says in the instructions. You want to make sure your motor's pretty level. I got a little bit of a lean back. So it's drained out a little bit. Let it go back down. You should burp a little bit. Pump it a little more. We'll call that good. I'm gonna take this. I just dropped this in the nasty oil, so I'm going to wipe it off good. Definitely don't want any of that old oil in here. There's some very nasty stuff on it. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one back in at the top. Everywhere. This is the tricky part. When you undo this, there's going to be a little bit leak out, but you don't want to have a bunch. It says in instructions that it's okay if a little bit leaks out, but you don't want a bunch. So you need to get it to where as soon as you get this off, you're putting the new one on. That's where the gloves come in handy. But a little bit's going to leak out. Don't worry about that a whole lot. Okay, there comes a little bit. Definitely don't drop it back in the oil. Okay, there comes a little bit. Definitely don't drop it back in the oil. Alright, we did pretty good there. I'm going to change out the 3 spark plugs. I'm going to keep them because they shouldn't be too worn. And if you have one go out while you're out in the running your motor, it's always good to have one of these in the storage that you could throw on. I got the 3 at the actual, I got the 3 at the boat dealership, and they were expensive, so you don't want to just trash them if they're not just totally fouled. Let's see if we can break these over. This is the replacement, an NGK. There's the code number if you need that. Code number to replace the spark plugs, the NGK spark plugs. They are expensive. They were about $12 a piece. So up top. And that's it. We've done, make sure these are good and snug in there. We've done oil, motor oil, we've done gear oil, we've done oil filter, we've done spark plugs. Check the oil one more time now that it's settled. Everything looks perfect on that. All right, time to put the cowling back on and put her up.